Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to the final game of the day here on the FCDB Cup 2017 qualifier stream. We're going back to Group B for WASD Sports up against Kinguin. And Danny, both these teams won their first game. They're both 1-0 so far. Do you have any thoughts as to who will take their second win?
It's gonna be interesting to see, to be honest, because a team like, as WASD are a relatively decent team on overpass. It's the sort of map that they kind of enjoy playing. It's not something they primarily ban. I guess one time I do remember they banned this map against one Latvian team on land, but even then, that's because that Latvian team pretty much primarily plays overpass. So Kinguin, though, I know they have some experience on overpass, especially from playing within the Pro League circuit. But honestly, I don't know. I think this could be a close affair here between the two. But at the same time, we said, Seed and Kinguin should also be a close affair. So I'm just wondering which team is probably going to be getting a good start.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much that plays a factor. Talking about WASD Sports, as always, gotta love watching Spur. He can really. I think we even saw it in WASD Sports' first game. He can really sometimes just step up massively for his team, and that is certainly something to watch out for. Because it looks like we have had the knife round already come through. I didn't actually even get to see who won that. I was too focused.
That was just the knife round on its way. The Polish side will be sticking on that CT side, the Estonians on that terrorist side, and yeah, as I was saying previously, overpass. I have seen the Estonians play on overpass. They're a relatively good team, and to be honest, they could be reckoned here with Kinguin. I'm wondering on what sort of footing we might actually see this Polish side turn out to be on the overpass CT side, and already 5 armors being investment from CTs. That's quite a heavy investment, but take a look at the Poles. They're pushing towards Fountain. This could get deadly relatively quickly here.
Yeah, it seems like Kinguin have decided against that after they realised it was potentially a little bit too scary to push out through mid. As I say that, they are pushed up towards A long, and I think Bihu took some damage there. Spiro still taking the fight. Howard no kills coming through. Finally, Spiro opens up on towards Gaborik. But in the meantime, the push is coming out towards the B bomb site, and Ralland already shuts it down with one headshot. The bomb should still be planted, but with the two-man disadvantage, WASD Sports have a lot to do to hold this off in the post-plant.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for the Estonians to try to hold this one off, especially as they are coming from relatively good positions here. Kinguin and Bitcher now, the last man standing of the defense, but Bitcher trying to do something about it, but it's not going to be good enough. It's good that he picks up the free frags, but it's not good enough to win the round. Nicely done by him, but in the end, he could have used some of his teammates' fragging prowess as well, but as he gets the 3k, it's still going to be Kinguin with the round win, but it's the Estonians who plant the bomb, and honestly, with that bomb being planted, I think they might just have to eco here, the Estonians, and then show us what they got on the third round. For the time being, though, Kinguin, all they got to try to think about this one, try to make this one as less costly for them as possible. The Estonians, on the other hand, they're thinking it's opposite. They want to try to do as much damage as possible here on the Kinguin side. So let's see, they'll quick push it towards toilets. This seems to be the name of the game. Spur already taking down Ralland, but Capered, though, he's not that bad of a position, but he's only able to pick up 2. And thus, it's a free versus free, but Sparrow coming in from behind. He should be the one to end the madness, and so was Kinguin picking up a 2-0, but still relatively nicely damage done by the Estonians.
Yeah, and of course, they themselves will now be straight up to the buy. AKs across the entirety of the team. The utility looking decent enough on the WASD Sports side, but they certainly won't be overwhelmingly happy with it. You can see not too much to work with. In fact, this is a fairly weak buy in terms of utility. I expected a few more players to buy up nades, but only really a few flashes alongside a smoke and a molly. So they're going to have to rely on the aim, but that's certainly something they can rely on because Vista's already opened up with the first kill. The push will come towards B. Mouse does get one frag in reply, but it seems like that's all he could find. And WASD cut off the rotate down connector to ensure that they have the site in a 4v2 advantage.
How to supplement your lack of utility was simple. Try to get those easy headshots right there, and the Estonian team goes to show. You get the frags there on the B bomb site, especially as there were only 2 defenders there. It wasn't the hardest of breakthrough there. The Estonians gotta be securing their first round here of overpass. Sparrow, I think in the spot he's right now, it does make sense to maybe try and back away and save, because if he's able to save the rifle, he might just able to drop his own teammates, and we might see something like 4 rifles from the Polish side. That wouldn't be that bad, to be honest. They can definitely, and I encourage them to go for the force bite. They might as well have a fighting chance on the forefront, but for the time being, the Estonians pull through. And when you think about it, that's a pretty interesting setup from the Polish side. They had 3 players towards long who were ready to go for that push, but thing is though, Polish side didn't really get to see much action towards long, and thus, well, it didn't really work out for them.
Well, Danny, we got through 3 rounds,
No!
and the fire alarm's back, and
No, how?
I can't
Why?
turn it off. I don't really know at this point. I don't know if I should even bother leaving, to be honest. Someone's probably burnt some more food somehow. Spiro's pushing out, though. Nearly a kill.
There's gotta be some sort of cooking lessons over there. Some sort of cooking lessons, how to not burn your food 101. I mean, put some oil, put some butter in your pan. I mean, you can't just be cooking like that. Anyhow, cooking lessons aside, WSD are now pushing through here by the looks of it. Picking up those 2 frags is Bitcher and Gaborik. And with those frags, the T's are going to be having, I'd say, a swift one in this one.
How bad does it sound in my mic right now? Does it sound bad?
Should I rate it in a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah, because like for my ears it's really bad, but maybe the mic doesn't pick it up. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping.
No, it's actually picking up. I would say, I don't know, chat. What do you think? I'd rate it the sound of the alarm something like 7 out of 10. What is the chat thinking?
It's a pretty nice alarm.
They're probably thinking that it's not that bad of an alarm. But anyhow, if I were to take a look at this game real quick, Miku and Mouse, both the players picking up huge frags now, and WSD are gonna crumble on the push. I said they would actually have a pretty good job. They did a pretty good job picking up the 2 frags there from the get-go, but in the end, you saw 3 of the Polish side players already on that A bomb site. Thus, WSD, 2 of their players were relatively low, that is true, but in the end, you were thinking them to be in succession of those frags to even secure a round, but apparently that is not meant to be. Hawk, are you gonna be sticking through, or what's your game plan?
Let's just take a minute to appreciate the silence. So good. Yeah, we're sticking with it. I'm pretty sure it might go off again. Who knows? But we've got WASD investing into this round. The 2 AKs bought up for Bitcher and Spur. See if these can get anything done, because Bitcher's already gained control towards Connector. In the meantime, Kinguin have been playing fairly safe so far, and that looks to continue. Spiro's the one man in towards bathrooms, playing a somewhat aggressive angle, but even then, he's certainly not so far out. And so it looks like WASD themselves will decide to group up now towards the A side of the map. Spiro will likely be taking the fight first, but as I say that, Spiro does again decide to fall back just a little bit further. So WSD will get the fight now. Spiro peeks into the open, spots out Gaborik, and takes him down fairly easily. WSD weren't really ready to find the trade there, and now Spiro going to take some more damage. He does manage to stay alive as he gets back towards the site, but here come the T's pushing their way forwards.
It's about time, isn't it? 40 seconds left on the clock. The terrorist side, they gotta make up their minds. Where on earth are they actually gonna push? Is it the A part of the map, or in fact the B bomb site? Because now it's 30 seconds. They're making up their mind. In fact, it's gonna be the B bomb site. And the thing is, the now rotation is coming in. You have Mihu here, and also alongside his teammate Mouse, but with that bomb being dropped, it's pretty much over here for WSD. Dogs now, the last Estonian standing with that CZ. Will be picking up one more frag, but don't expect much from Dots. This is gonna be the end of him and WSD. I mean, they try to push towards A. I don't blame them, especially after getting that frag on one of the players. But the thing is, this is not looking good. I'm getting flashbacks here, Haka. If Kinguin get that momentum ball rolling, I think we might be seeing something reminiscent on what we saw in Cobblestone because once Kinguin had that momentum going for on the terrace side of Cobblestone, they seem to be unstoppable.
Yeah, they looked on point earlier today, and they look on point at the start of this game as well. Because WASD again have been forced back to pistols. There is some kills though for the pistols. Spur and Dodds get one frag each. Rallen here holding off though will be able to shut down Bitcher. So it's just Dodds to pick up the M4 while Spur sticks with the pistol and does get taken out. Dodds tries to peek. He hasn't got Kevlar, but he still wins that fight there. I thought that Rallen would have come out on top, especially after he landed some shots, as Dodds gets a second kill! And all of a sudden, this becomes very, very winnable. It's a one-on-one against Mihu, who still has to be favoured with the health advantage, but Dodds has time to work with. Mihu's coming over, though. He's cutting off the push, but Dodds himself is not going to push out through A long. He's going to try and fall back. Does Dodds hold the angle? He needs the headshot, and he's going to find it. How does Dodds win out in that position of 4K to give WASD their second round?
Yes, Dodds does a very good job, but the entire squad, I mean, WSD, they've just been allowed so much freedom there by Kinguin. Going out for those pushes there was Kinguin. And in fact, the pistols prevail supreme. Dodds, in fact, picking up, I think it was 3 kills with the pistol. And then also that 1 kill with the AK-47. I mean, I have to admit, Kinguin kind of messed up there, especially the player in connector. I mean, I had no idea. Why on earth did he peek right there? That was just a frag that none other than Dawes wanted to get, and well, they just got ecoed here. Sparrow missing a crucial shot with the op. And this might give the opening the Estonians needed here. They're not out of this one. Oh no, they're very much not out of here. This is still the early stages of this first half, but I was thinking, okay, Kinguin, they might just set a tone by picking up those 3 rounds right there, maybe even the 4th. But now this is looking not that bad here for the Estonians.
Right towards A long, and Vizda comes out on top. Again, surprised to see Kappa there kind of peek out by himself. He nearly gets the kill, but Vizda comes out on top with just 10 HP remaining. And so now Kinguin have to just have 2 players on A, 2 players on B. It's very difficult for them here to hold onto the sites. And also the rotations are going to be very long between the sites with 2 players committed so heavily. We are going to see Mihu push up on the edge of this smoke. In the meantime, Spur is also working out A long. The rest of his team's towards B, but Spur will sell the fake a little bit longer with that kill. Elsewhere, the B push is also successful for WASD. It's only Mouse in towards water to try and cut this off. He does get 1 quick headshot, looking for a second, and there we go. The UMP opens up, and Vista is also low on health. He continues to nearly take the fight, but Vista realizes he should just play things safe. And so now in a 2v2, Kinguin will try to make their way back towards the site itself. And they have got themselves on towards the bomb site, but without the kit, going to be tough to defuse.
It's gonna be tough. They need to try to get these aim duels here, Kinguin. And the problem is Vista and Bitch are both picking up kills apiece. That looked scary there for the Estonians. You're probably thinking the player in water, he might just get 1 frag out of that one, but in fact he's actually able to pick up 2, making it very doable for the remaining Kinguin players to even think about trying to go for that retake. It was relatively close in the end, but we do get to see the Estonians reign supreme, and in fact in a round like this they might just even end up equalizing the score. I mean, you're seeing Spur, Dots, 2 of the players with the MAC-10s, and the rest of the squad also pushing towards this B bomb site. This is where Kinguin put the majority of their forces, but looks like that's not going to be enough. Clean sweep here from the Estonians as they take down every single Kinguin player, and that is very good for the Estonian economy as well, as picking up a round like that without dropping a single of your player will allow you to start building up some of that bank, and heck, maybe even some of that momentum, you know, picking up kills with the MAC-10 as you're just running around, ripping off heads. That is also quite the, you know, it's a good feeling in any player.
Yes, that's certainly going to be true. Got a love at winning rounds. Either way, Dodd's going to go out first. Look at the headshot. Mihu boosted up, couldn't react in time. And oftentimes you will see players pre-aim that position, but it is still fairly difficult to land a shot. However, Dodds made it look easy there, finding that opening with the AK. And so now WASD could take things slowly, but they decide to continue to fight. And that works out in favor of Spiro, who gets the trade kill back. And they're continuing to push here. Spur does get the trade. I was surprised to see him push so aggressively there with just the Mac 10. But here comes Kappa from long. Could he make the difference, making his way forwards? Only the one kill. And so that means that Rallen and Mouse have to rotate up. The bomb hasn't actually pushed towards the site just yet, though. And so WASD will keep their man advantage. In fact, they will extend it, as it looks like Mao's got a kill and the trade with the molly after he died. We were stuck with Rallen, though, and you can see he's not going to be near the action as the bomb goes down towards B.
And I think Rallen is a smart individual, and I don't think he's going to try to go for this retake. He understands that he's a bit lacking in the whole... or is he thinking about it? Honestly, he doesn't have a lot of time to work with here. If he's able to get a frag, like, in the next 5-10 seconds or so, maybe, but... we're already seeing him trying to go for the opposite one. He's just gonna try to save the lonesome M4 of his, and why not? I mean, saving the M4, keep it into the next round. There's really no need to just drop it away, give it away for these Ts who already have a round secured in their favor. So the scoreline, in fact, we're gonna be seeing for the first time ever, Starians actually come out on top here in the scoreline department, as they're gonna be having 5 rounds into Kinguin's 4, and Rallen, in fact, will be taking down the 2 remaining players. I wouldn't say that's how the Estonians wanted it to go, but heck, in the end, they get the round win, and they also have still some of that bank in them. And I'm just wondering right now, what will be Kinguin's game plan? You know, they have some of those pistols being bought up, armor as well. Rallen saving up the AK-47, and they're already seeing, look at the positioning of the CTs. They're going to be playing, I'd say, a bit more aggressive here with the pistols, as they have players in fact long and even connector. These are not bad positions, and WSD, are the players moving towards long? Yep, the players are moving towards long. It makes sense, after all. You have the AK-47s, and you're going to be facing pistols. This is where the AKs reign supreme in the long-range engagements, but Rallen will be getting up for a kill. Miku as well. This is now looking difficult for Estonians, but as I say, so Spur with a reply. And we're still down to a 2 versus 3. Rallen make that a 2 versus 1 now, all up to Mouse from the Kinguin side. The pole can definitely retrieve his dropped teammate's AK, and it's still not that bad for Mouse.
Yeah, not the worst position to be in, because he's got towards bathrooms before they can push out through long, so he can cut them off. How does he miss the shot? But he does eventually find the spray down for the kill. I would have liked a quick headshot, but he finds the frag nonetheless. So it's a one-on-one with Bitcher getting the plant down. Mouse is going to push forwards. The timing is everything here. Bitcher out in the open, loses his head. And Mouse manages to pull off a clutch this time in favour of Kinguin to bring it back to the 5-5 scoreline. We saw WASD win that round that they probably shouldn't have won with the weaker buy earlier. This time it's Kinguin who come out on top. And Mouse even puts a bullet into the body just to rub salt into the wounds.
Now, some good old-fashioned BM. You barely get to see that. When you think, you barely get to see that sort of stuff in modern day Counter-Strike. Everyone's very polite. Everyone's gentleman-like. No one goes to that sort of knifing a dead body or spraying, that sort of stuff. Sometimes you might see it, but rarely nowadays.
Yeah, not too often, and, well, there we go. Speaking of not too often, this time Spiro has the AWP, and he gets the first kill with that very gun. Oh, Mihu switches weapons there. Why are you switching weapons when you're holding an angle? That's never something you should be doing. He doesn't get punished for it, fortunately, this time. And so Kinguin do get to keep their man advantage. In the meantime, WASD were a bit more focused towards bathrooms, but Spiro is still here with the AWP, holding a very strange angle. He's at risk of being pushed here. The smoke fades. Spiro doesn't spot out the man, decides to try and fall back. But Gaborik was already up close to find the trade. And so now WASD will look to just overwhelm this A-bomb site.
And I think overwhelmed they will. The problem is, though, they might take the site itself, but they have to be very careful of one player in particular, Capper, who is still very much in toilets. Could be much of a nuisance here, but Pitcher, expecting a similar play, takes down Capper. He's out of the equation, and you still have 3 Polar side players remaining. Problem is, though, Rallen and Mouse are relatively low in HP. That's a sick flash, I have to admit, from Pitcher. But anyhow, 30 seconds on the clock. WSD have to make a move, and the move they shall make on this B bomb side. You have two of the players, Mouse and Rowland, so low in HP. They still can do something about it, and Rowland will drop the bomb planner. And now this is not looking too shabby. Rowland with a second frag. Dodds now needs to be quick. 10 seconds. He's got barely any time at this point. Looks like this is going to be the round here for Kinguin. What a close affair in the end. Very close indeed. In a world where Rowland and his teammate aren't able to get those frags on the bomb side. I mean, that's RIP. That's round for the Estonian side. It's simple as that. Those players are low HP. Easy kills for the Estonians. But in fact, you see the other way around. Kinguin pick up the round, and oh boy, this, I said, Haka, this might be a pretty close game here.
It looks like it might be the case, but this round we're going to see a rush B, and it might not work out. Although, actually, where have those kills come from? We're back to a 3-on-3. Rowland only finds the one kill. Actually, he did get one with the nade. So we're back to a 2 versus 2. But WASD Sports just pushing monsters so quickly. I thought they were going to be shut down. And yet, instead, we're back to a 2v2. Spiro, however, is on the big flank, trying to get the information, but he's not willing to push out any further just yet. With just the MP7, he doesn't want to risk taking a fight towards Monster. Now the bomb will go down, and so they will be forced forwards. And let's see if Kinguin can find the positions of the WASD players. Spiro certainly can. Pushing forwards, doesn't get the kill. And so Kappa now is left in a 1-on-1, but with Dodds being so low on health, he has to be favoured. Pulls out the gun after spotting Dodds out. Needs one bullet. Actually landed one bullet through the pillar, but does eventually find the second for the frag. And so it will be Kinguin to just about win in that round, despite WASD looking fairly good on the B push earlier.
WASD's best efforts on pushing the B bomb site were, relatively successful. The thing is, though, none of the CTs were able to get a frag there. I think one of the Estonian players actually killed one of his teammates. That's how it turned into a 4 versus 3. But in the end, Kinguin coming through, they have the experience, and maybe you could say a bit more knowledge within playing this map, as, it is somewhat expected. Kinguin, they have been facing some relatively fierce opposition, playing some against Europe's best in the world. And I also think this is the first time ever we're seeing the Estonians play against the Polish side of Kinguin, so after all, you should be expecting close affair, and a close affair it is. But Kinguin, though, they might just extend their lead there. Mihu with the frag, Sparrow as well, and wow, that was very quick. Rowland and Sparrow taking out 2, and the Polish side, Kinguin, making the scoreline now 8-5. The Estonians, they have a couple of choices here. They can go for a good old-fashioned eco. They might lose the round because of it, help the Polish side extend the lead, or they might try to go for a full-on force buy and then try to compensate with the pistols. But it looks like they're gonna play this one smart. They're gonna be ecoing this, well, not necessarily ecoing it, without having a bit of a partial buy here with some of those Eagles armors as well. They're gonna try to accomplish something that way. Speer with the frag, Kepper as well. This is now crumbling. Very quick round here from the Poles, and well, WSD, they still have one more chance here on this first half on their terrorist side.
Yeah, Spiro and Kappa go down to 4 and 5 health respectively, and yet still they manage to all survive at the end of the round. So heading into round number 15, we will see WASD of course go for the buy. It's pretty much a full buy for them. We see Spur on the AWP alongside 4 AKs. And quickly looking at the scoreboard so far, it's Dodds leading the way for WASD Sports. In the meantime, we can't look at the scoreboard because fight's already coming through. Kinguin just push out aggressively through A. Here comes Gaborik up connector for the flank. So now the A site is looking fairly open, but the bomb is not close enough to realistically get this down in time. And you can already see Mihu making his way back from long to try and get this kill, but Gaborik wins the fight. And so all of a sudden, A site is looking very, very open for the taking if WASD can make their way forwards. And Gaborik's going to continue to push. The flash is perfect.
Oh,
Kappa does the damage, but not the frag. And Mouse and Spiro have to rotate up from B to try and retake this site now.
This is insane stuff. This is insane stuff from the Estonian side, and especially Gaborik. In a situation where his teammates were pushed by the Kinguin side, he answers it with aggression of his own, picking up free kills, putting his team very much, that winnable situation here, possibly winnable situation, 2 versus 2. Pitcher will be taking down Sparrow, but now Mouse, he's got the defuse kit as well. He's got time, and time is not of the essence, and he will be taking down Pitcher as well. So the scoreline is going to be 10-5, but you gotta give effort to, and credit for WSD. That last round, it showed that, okay, Kinguin, they seem to be the superior team. They did a pretty good job at getting the initial frags, from the get-go, but then you get to see a player like Gabor who's like, nope, I got something to say, and he does pick up frags, picks up the first, the second, the third, putting his team in contention, but apparently Gaborik's kills were not good enough. Anyhow, it's gonna be 10-5, the Estonians. I'm wondering what can they show us here on their CT side of overpass.
Yeah, we will get to see that, but we're also going to have to look at Kinguin's T side because they've gone for 2 sets of nades in this initial pistol round. Rallen with a smoke, a flash, and a HE, whereas Spiro with a smoke and 2 flashes. And Kinguin are just going to sit back to start things off. In the meantime, WASD have a big stack towards B, but I don't expect this to stick around for too long because you can see Gaborik in towards bathrooms. He's currently by himself on the A side of the map, and indeed Bitcher will try and help him out. Doesn't seem like we're going to see too much yet, although just as I say that, Dodds is already pushing all the way through here, and Rallen just gets gifted a free kill. Dodds possibly thinking that position was going to be clear, but Rallen holds true, and so Kinguin get a free one-man advantage early on, although Rallen nearly gives it away by peeking, but just decides to play safe. So it is indeed a 5v4 for Kinguin now, and with their nades left to use, still every chance for them to push aside. Oof.
Oof, indeed. Gaborik also picking up a frag there onto Capper, who was jumping there from toilets. Was quite in the hurry, you could say that. 4 versus 3, that is true. The Estonians are not looking so hot here, and now they have to make a crucial decision. Which part of the map are they willing to defend more? And they're willing to defend this B bomb site. This is the correct choice, as Kinguin now deploying some of the last remaining utility that they do have on this B bomb site. They need to land the kills, and kills they will land, but there's also Sparrow hiding behind, and pounces Gaborik now. 1 versus 2 possible for Gaborik, and he might just take down Rallen there. Rallen, 13 points of health for him, and he also kills him. He kills Rallen for the smoke. Gaborik is a mastermind, or extremely lucky.
Maybe a little bit of both, to be honest. Gaborik there on that second kill, he didn't go for the headshot. I think after missing, he just decided to spray to the chest all the way from heaven, and that worked out fairly well. But he then had to afterwards find that final kill, and he managed to do so with a little bit of luck, which is sometimes what you need to win the round. And so now WASD are the ones who get to start off strong on their CT side. And of course, that pistol round was always going to be incredibly important for them. Of course, if they lost it, they'd be at risk of going likely 13-5 down. Instead, it goes the other way. It's such a massive swing when you do have a fairly weak first half. And so now WASD, of course, we will get to see the buys come in slowly. It looks like Kinguin have some ping issues they were saying earlier, but I'm looking now and it seems fine. So it should hopefully not be too long of a pause.
No, it honestly shouldn't be. And to be honest, to be frank, I've seen the Estonian team play on the overpass CT side previously, as they were once a long time ago, well, not necessarily long that time ago, or facing a Belarusian team by the name of Good Job. And really what I get to see from WSD's CT side, that I could even argue sometimes it is a bit weaker than their T side. There sometimes seem to be issue with some of the communication part of things. Sometimes they don't, I don't know if that's the case, they don't articulate where exactly some of the opponents are, what is their game plan on the CT side. And right now, Kinguin, they might just take down Spur here, and that is the case. Lonesome Spare pushed up towards Fountain. He had no sort of backup. Gaborik is here. He's towards Fountain, but he knows it doesn't make much sense to go for the fight. He just tried to back away, but even then, players are swarming here towards toilets. It doesn't make a lot of opportunities for him to back away, but there's Bitcher as well. So Michu and Mouse, I mean, they still might try to pick up a couple more frags here if possible, but don't expect much from the remaining T players.
We are going to see Mouse try and take a fight, but he instead is the man to take some damage. Pitcher holding up close, goes for the spray. Jumping away, but he still gets the kill. And so Mouse looking for a headshot or two, and there is the first. Nearly the second, actually. He's getting the chance to take these fights, and still no bullets really connecting from the CT side on towards him. Of course, the bomb has been dropped out in the open towards A, so Mal's not really going to have the chance to win the round, but he can try and play for the kills, and WASD are also going to push towards him here. I think Vista with the UMP wants this money, but Mal's does take him down. Again, a little bit of an unnecessary risk there for WASD, but they will still win the round. And of course, they only had the one rifle, I believe, so they get to save the one M4 into the next round, and that, of course, was always going to be the main aim in terms of the saves.
And now you have a fully decked out Polish side in terms of the weaponry that they have to offer. In terms of utility, it's a bit lacking. You could say for Michu, Sparrow, and Kapper. The rest, Miles Rally not doing so bad, but honestly, in some regard, it's gonna be interesting to see what the Estonians have got to offer here. Quick control here of water towards this B bomb site, nicely done by them. Without any sort of casualties, they're able to acquire a relatively important part of the overpass puzzle, and Mouse will be taking down Spur. So that's one of the Estonians out. And now we have a 4 versus 5. Make that a 4 versus 4 now as Bitcher towards Connector, taking down Capper, so that's one of the T's out as well. Well, I'm not quite sure what was Capper doing there. I think he tried to capitalize on one of his teammates taking down the player in Monster. He was maybe thinking, oh, there's a player who died in Monster. If there are any players in Short, they should rotate towards Monster or something, sort of thinking like that. It made sense, but the problem is there were 2 players towards Short, and both of them aiming down towards Lonesome Capper. Anyhow, the scoreline is still not looking too good here, I'd say, for the WSD side. Take a look at the polls. They're ready and waiting to hit this A bomb site by the looks of it.
Yeah, looks like they are in position. Here come a couple of nades over the top, and that will prompt the push from Mouse, who gets that first kill. Dodds is still here, though, shutting things down. 3 kills on the hold, almost secures the round alone. Sure, Spiro gets the trade, but he's still got 2 more to find. It looks like Dodds has just pretty much single-handedly won this round for his team. Spiro doesn't know there's a player here. Goes for the fake plant and was expecting that to bait out the peak, but Bitcher ends up finishing him off instead. And so WASD just keep rolling on their CT side. They're going to, of course, force Kinguin back to pistols again. And this is starting to get a little bit worrying now for Kinguin. After they had that 10-5 scoreline at the half, that's slowly but surely slipping away from them.
Yeah, the advantage they had previously is slowly but surely slipping away from this Polish side. They might have to get a bit weary here on what is not really for them. Some of the rounds, a round like that push on the 8 bomb set was still relatively close. You're wondering if one of those frags still goes in favor of Kinguin. We might be having something like a 2 versus 2, but in the end, the Estonians reign supreme. And even a round like this, they're also doing a relatively good job, not giving away too much. But as I say, so Spur is going to be the one to fall, and he's still... I think if you're a WSD, you gotta be careful about even in a round like this. The Poles are dangerous and a force worth to be reckoned with. The MP9 of the Borg, though, will finally time through. And honestly, to be honest, and to be completely frank, having 2 players in Connector in a round like this, I have to admit, is quite scary. If the Kinguin side would have decided to push something like Connector with 5 of their players, the players in Connector could be having a difficult affair. So I don't always agree the way they're playing their CT side right now is a good idea, but for the time being, it's working out for them. And Rowland and Miku, 30 seconds left the clock, that's definitely not a lot to work with. Here, Bitcher, though, jumping up. I think something's wrong with his mouse, Haka. This isn't the first time we're seeing him do it.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be the last either. People seem to love a good jump. Doesn't matter too much, of course, because WASD still win the round, and he still got the kill, to be fair. And so now Kinguin, of course, back to the buy. Still not going to see an AWP for the Kinguin side, but Spur is more than happy to buy one for himself. It will cost him his utility, only being able to afford the Kevlar and the AWP, but I'm sure that is a more than worthwhile trade from his perspective. He's been struggling a little bit so far, Spur. Generally, you do see him be sort of a fairly up and down AWPer, so let's see if that's the case here, because right now he's peeking towards mid with the AWP in his hands. The player on the other side there is just sitting patiently. That was Rallen who's not peeking just yet. In the meantime, though, Spiro's coming through. Spur does get that first kill. Spiro has to find this trade, but he misses the shots, trying to push forwards, and Spur out in the open. I'm not sure why he stuck around for so long. Ends up being traded on. A little bit weird there. I guess Spur couldn't really fall back with the smoke fading, and so we just go back to a 4-on-4. And again, with that big of an investment into the AWP, it feels like a little bit of a waste to just throw it away on an even trade.
No buddy system, no backup, nothing from the Estonian side as we saw Spur, pushing up there. And there was not a single player close by. There wasn't even a player on the A side. He could have, if the Kinguin side would have wanted to push connector, they could have outflanked the player towards Birthday. That wasn't a good setup. Yeah, Spur gets that one frag, but in the end, it's a 4 versus 4. And in scenarios like this, you still be favoring the terrorist side because either side they do decide to hit, they will be having the man advantage and they should be trading things out in their favor. Sparrow might be seeing a Gaborik jumping up there, and he has been spotted, as well as the T's themselves. So now the terrorist is pushing through. Capper picking up 2 of those frags, and now Kinguin will be playing the bomb. And you were thinking that, okay, the Estonians might just be in a position to equalize things up here, but apparently not. Apparently not, as the Polish side will claim the 11th, and the remaining Estonians, Bitcher and Vista, will try to save it. In fact, if they were able to save the weapons here, then heck, they might be pulling off a pretty decent buy in the 21st round.
Certainly could still be the case, but they still have to save these guns. In the meantime, Spiro himself will recover an AWP. It seems like Kinguin, of course, only winning this first round now on their T side, also have to worry somewhat about their own money. So they're not going to push out too far. They are more than happy to try and just focus on their own economy. So that does mean WASD, as you were saying, will have a fairly good buy into this round. It should be 4 rifles and just 1 player forced down to a weaker weapon, which certainly won't be too bad. And in fact, Spur even gets himself an AWP. So just Gaborik forced down to the Desert Eagle. Other than that, pretty much a perfect buy for WASD. They even have a lot of utility, so certainly still could go either way in this round. We're already seeing Kinguin throw a few nades over towards A, but it looks like that is just a bit of a fake to line up the B play. 4 players all grouped up around the B bomb site. WASD themselves have used a lot of nades early on here, so as the push comes now, they won't have that many to slow this down. And here we go, the Poles pushing in, but Bitcher sprays 2 down. He is in trouble to the Molotov, but he does avoid it enough, only going down to 60 HP. So with the bomb being down, tough to see again Kinguin coming back from this position.
Honestly, I never truly see the appeal of just players pushing through Monster like that. In this case, 3 players just dying towards Monster, dropping the bomb as well. It would be nice to see in most scenarios going for a bit of a split, have players coming from short as well, like Sparrow or Rowland, and the rest of the 3 remainder try to go for Monster. In that way, Kinguin might find a bit more success. But now, look at this. I mean, the bomb is dropped in the middle of nowhere. It's in the hands of the Estonians, and Kinguin is just pretty much out of the round, as simple as that. And also, what about utility usage? There was barely little to none from the Polish side. There's a flash though that does blind Bitcher and Rowland. 2 quick frags in quick succession. Spur and Odds are very close after all. They know where the bomb is dropped, and Rowland spawning out Dodds as well. That's a frag for him, and now 20 seconds on the clock. Spur, this isn't looking too bad, I have to admit, for Kinguin, and Spur will be getting that frag in the end. Oh boy, that's a pretty close round in the end. You're probably thinking, okay, the bomb is dropped on the B side. This will be a round for the Estonians. Easy peasy, 11 squeeze, 4 versus 2, but it still went relatively close to the end. Rowland making the best of what he's got at the moment, and still, Kinguin, I think they might start to feel some sort of pressure here. I mean, at one point the scoreline was 10-5, favoring Poles. Now the scoreline is 11-10. That's not so good here for Kinguin, I'd say. The T side isn't looking very good. I mean, it's looking very lackluster.
Yeah, and you can see in both of these buys, both teams' money is certainly on the edge of being broken at any second here. So the winner of this round becomes so important. They really get to sort of control the rest of this game, you would think. It's likely the losers will be forced down to a weak bye. Here comes a boost coming in from Kinguin. Miku is the man looking over the top. But he's not going to find any opponents just yet because Gaborik is sitting in the corner. In comes a second smoke to slow things down, and if Gaborik tries to fall back after this smoke begins to fade, then this boost might actually work in terms of Miku being able to spot towards short and spot him falling back. But with the UMP, I also wouldn't be surprised to see Gaborik stay there, and Gaborik surely will hear these steps. This should be a decent amount of information for him. He must be aware there's players on the other side, and here comes the peak. Only the one kill, but information for WASD as the A push comes in.
And the A play is now coming in. The Kinguin side is trying to pounce forward, but bitter, crucial frags from him. But now he's simply gonna get overwhelmed, and as he's overwhelmed, Dodds, that doesn't make a lot of sense from Dodds to be pushing through Optimus Prime in a smoke like that. Vista now left in a 1 versus 2, a difficult 1 versus 2, and that does take down Spiro. That isn't that bad. There's Rallen, and Rallen is way too quick on the trigger finger. 12-10 now, WSD. They look like they might just be able to mount some sort of serious damage dealing round in a round like this, but the problem is they end up losing it. Thus, they are the ones feeling the repercussions. They barely have any money left. But the barely money that they do have is just gonna try to save things up, going for the full-on classic eco, and they gonna try to maybe get a couple rifles here if possible, with the pistols, with the USPs, try to do some damage, but I mean, it's not looking too good already. Miku Mouse picking up frags apiece, and they might just isolate Lonesome Mouse with the MAC-10, but saving a MAC-10 into the next round, it's not something worth bragging about.
Yeah, Mouse will look for the money. He might just get gifted a bit more. Spur goes down, as does Vista. There goes the eventual trade. However, Mouse is more than happy to get 3 kills with the MAC-10, building up that cash, and so Bitcher try to find one of the AKs, but Kappa does actually take a fair amount of damage there, down to 10 HP. He still, of course, comes out on top, though, and so 13-10 now, and WASD really still don't have as much money as they would have hoped for here. Might be worth them taking a timeout at this point, because this is a somewhat tough position, and they've already just decided they are going to go for only pistols, conceding another round over to Kinguin, or at least risking that. Obviously, the pistols can still win, but considering how it's been going for them so far, that doesn't look too likely. And so the fact that they are willing to let Kinguin get to 14 is somewhat surprising, as already Mihu opens things up. Gaborik finds a trade there. That was from A-Long with his Desert Eagle, and here comes the push forwards. Mihu should get the kill. Very well placed flashbang to allow him to open up. WSD have pushed all the way through on the other side of the map, but Kappa spots that out. So WASD, it looks like, will indeed have to play for the next round and have to play with a 4-round deficit.
And honestly, in general, this is where some city sides tend to falter, you know? They start playing out their 1-1, not necessarily having some sort of backup, like, oh, I'm gonna try to peek this part of the map, try to get a frag. Sometimes most players won't think of the risk-reward factor, and if a player dies, that's already not a favorable situation for, you know, the CT side, and this is what I'm kind of seeing from WSD. They are playing relatively 1-by-1. It would be nice to see them trying to play as a bit of a more team. There we go. What we're seeing right now, you know, Spur and Dodds together, they're pushing up, and they're doing one hell of a good job at it. Spur with 2, make it a... Wow, that was a Spur frag for Gaborik, but Miku and Mouse, now they're left in a 2 versus 3, and this is what I wanted to see from the Estonians. Pushing together, playing as a team. That's how you gotta be doing here on the CT side. Miku. Now it's all up to Miku. 1 versus 3. He's got the bomb in his shoulders, which is nice, but I don't think that's gonna mean much for Lonesome Miku.
Well, we have to wait for a second here, because Miku, with the bomb now, can go towards the B site, and it looks like WASD are just trying to stick somewhat close together here, with Vista and Connector and Bitcher in towards bathrooms. If you take a look at the map, you can see they are both staying more towards A, and so Miku might just get the bomb plants before WASD can really do anything, and currently without a defuse kit, they do still run the risk of losing this round. Just, of course, talking about Spur, by the way, finding those 3 kills earlier, he does seem like a very up and down player. Like, some of those shots were insane, but earlier on in this game, with that AWP, he's really not been able to do too much. He can be so good sometimes, and yet struggles at others. Either way, we're going to have to focus on Mihu still, because 25 seconds left. Despite walking all the way out through B, Mihu doesn't believe that B is completely clear. So he's looking to see if anyone's in heaven. In fact, no, Mihu's now going towards A. I guess he might be playing for the kills here. However, there's a player in towards bank, and I don't think he's going to expect this. Oh, Mihu could be in trouble. No, he does plant for bathrooms. So this makes it much more doable now. Mihu doesn't realise there's a player so close. Bitcher uses the sound to find the easy frag. And so it will be WASD to win that all-important round for themselves.
And I mean, you can't really blame Mihu in that position. I mean, he's got to check so many angles. He's got barely little to none time to work with there. So, you know, him getting the plant is already something for the Polish side. They're going to be having at least some extra money coming into the next round, so they can be happy about that. I don't blame my man Mihu. He tried, but now 14-11, as it is the score. Kinguin, they got to be careful, and they should be playing this one a bit more smarter. They saw what WSD is capable of the round previously. They got to be thinking, okay, they had relatively success at trying to play, you know, together, pushing up. We might try to be a bit more careful here on the T side. Expect a similar play, and again, we're seeing a bit more focus here towards Fountain, towards A from the Kinguin side. They have the majority of players here, but this time around, the Estonians are playing, again, relatively one by one. Take a look at long defense. There's only one guy here in the form of Gaborik, and he might just get a frag here, though. They're not really checking long here, Kinguin. This could be the linchpin. Gaborik taking down Spiro. So this time around, we're going to be seeing the Estonians yet again come out on top, but the Kinguin side has still got to be careful.
Yeah, they're all grouped up in towards bathrooms by the looks of things, and so Kinguin have to make their way forwards, but Spur caught completely off guard. Still, though, the rifles are doing the job that they need to. Gaborik finds 3 kills, and Mal's the one man left will also fall. Gaborik with a very well executed 4K and a saved AWP at the end of the round. Win WASD yet another round on the board, and so now Kinguin are in a somewhat awkward position, but it seems like Mihu has already pulled the trigger on the buy. So they're not going to have a full buy on their side. Mouse and Spiro down to CZs. I'm kind of surprised to see this buy come through, considering they do have a 2-round buffer, but they decide they are willing to take a slight risk with not a full buy. And let's see if that works out for them, because Spur peeking towards mid is getting loads of information there. I think he got there before anyone could have crossed towards playground, so he doesn't spot anyone out early on, but does decide to fall back. In the meantime, Kinguin lining up the B play already.
Yeah, looks like they are lining something up. Some of those smokes as well. Going to be seeing it deploy. We haven't really seen a proper execute from the Polish side, so this is going to be one of the fewer rounds we do get to see him do this. Rallin pushing through. There's a player on this side who's going to drop, but there's still one player towards Monster. They peek him. Vista will be dropping dead, and you still have 4 of these Polish players here. They will also be playing the bomb, but they are relatively low. Rallin, Capper, Rallin, the nade could have been so powerful, but it's not good enough. Bitcher, Spur, and Gaborik, of course they will try to retake this one. They need the rounds here, but they're making mistakes here. Peeking out there alone is Bitcher. Where's the backup? Where's the backup? Spur, Gaborik, what are you doing? You gotta move in with your teammate. And this is where the Estonians, I think, will crumble, at least in this round. There's nothing much more they got to work with here. Spur is still alive, but not any longer. Mihu takes him down, and thus Kinguin with 15 here on the terrorist side. And WSD, they've got something. They still got some of that money. It's not the most amount of money in the world, but at least they're going to be able to, I guess, get some sort of respectable buy, which could be their very last buy here on the city side of overpass.
Yeah, Spur taking a little bit longer to buy, but he eventually manages to do so, going for an MP9 alongside Gaborik, with also a slightly weaker gun on towards the Deeg. In the meantime, Kinguin have pushed up B short, and Bitcher here is thinking of the peak. I don't know what Bitcher's doing there. He just walks into the open, no utility, no support. He goes down first, and it feels like WASD maybe are a little bit dejected from the previous rounds, because that's not something that you can expect to work all that often. And so WASD give away the man advantage early on. And Kinguin will be more than happy to take it, although Spur himself gets gifted a kill as Kappa walks through the smoke. I don't know what's going on this round. Dodds swings back around to make sure a long is clear, and Vista himself tries to take a fight, but Spiro comes out on top, and all of a sudden, Kinguin have swung this back into their favour. But wait, how is Spur at the bomb right now? What is going on? I don't know what this round is. I don't know.
Mihu goes for a 180, rips off the head of Dodds. And I can tell you one simple thing, Hawker. Mistakes are being made by the CTs, by the Ts, and now Spur, he's got control of the bomb, but Kinguin, they're wondering, like, where on earth is the last CT at? He should be somewhere on the A side. He abandons the sort of position he had towards the bomb, but Mehu's expecting it. He's expecting a player to be close by, and now with 20 seconds, now Kinguin's gotta worry. I mean, they gotta retrieve the bomb and Spur pick it up a second. Could be the third, and it is the third. Oh my, Spur doing such a good job defending the bomb, picking up 3 kills, a 4K in the end, but still, mistakes were made. Huge mistakes were made. 15-13. It's not over just yet.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair play to Spur, of course. He did a really nice job at landing those kills, but at the same time, Kinguin should not be pushing him one by one. They should also be somewhat near the bomb. I don't know how Spur got to that position. Either way, Kinguin have to focus on this round. Mihu is the only man with the AK, and Cap has invested all his money here, so Kinguin have gone for a weird decision here. One player buying up. I don't know really why they've decided to go for that. In comes Dodds going aggressive, and he goes down in towards Connector. So WASD yet again lose the opening pick. This time it's only a UMP given over to Mouse, but an early advantage for Kinguin nonetheless.
An early advantage indeed. Oh, and Gaborik, he will be taking down Lonesome Capper. This isn't the first time we're seeing Capper trying to play a bit cheeky, pushing through smokes, pushing in situations he probably shouldn't. And Spur, though, even though Mihu goes for the white pick, the op reigns supreme at a second frag for Spur mid-round. You know, he's got the Peter 50 in his hands, and he might just be in a position to take down the upper, but even then, that's a question mark. And apparently, even that's not going to be the case. 15-14. The purchase of the AK-47 on one of the Ts was a bit of an interesting choice, but now it just has to be a purchase from the Kinguin side. 15-14. Looks like this one is going the distance. Either it's overtime or, well, it could very much be close out here by Kinguin, but they're not looking so hot. Look at the utility. It's barely non-existent. They have those CZs on op onto Rallin, so you're expecting, okay, if Rallin with the op, you gotta do most of the heavy lifting in this round, I presume.
Well, it all comes down to this. Round number 30 is going to decide how this game plays out. It's either going to be Kinguin taking the win or WASD taking us to overtime. And already we're seeing some players close in towards bathrooms. They're just on the other side of the wall facing each other. Spur has stepped up in the recent rounds with that AWP, but it's Gaborik to open up with the M4, looking for a second, and he finds it just before the trade can come through. That was a massive kill to gain, because now WASD will have that man advantage. And it's looking fairly good for them here to take this one to overtime. But of course, Kinguin now have rifles on all their players and are only in a 3-on-4, so still possible for them. With 55 seconds left, it looks like they are going to slow things down and hope that someone walks into Miku's crosshair with this AWP. But I don't think WASD are really going to go for any aggression here. No need to, at least.
Oh, what the timing works out beautifully there for Vista. You're saying it right. I mean, it doesn't make much sense for the Estonian side to even go for any sort of aggressive plays. It's the Polish side that's got to do something, and that something will be trying to get some frags here. Capper trying to move in on the side, will be picking up one more, could get the second one, but apparently not. Dodds on the side, and that is gonna be it. 15-15. The Polish side kind of chokes there on the terrorist side. A bit of mistakes were made, especially in that 1 versus 3 with the bomb being dropped towards T-spawn. I think that was the difference maker. Honestly, WSD lose that round, and we're done. Boom. Kinguin win the round. They're victorious in overpass. But now, as we've gone the distance here, Kinguin, I don't know how they're feeling after some of the rounds that they did lose on that terrorist side.
And here we go into overtime. It is going to be 10k starting money, which I think is the most standard. So the economy can become an issue. And of course, it's first team to 19 rounds who would take the win. Unless we end 18-18, and then we'd have another overtime until someone manages to get a few deciding rounds. There's a nice boost for Spur. He's not really been towards the B site too often with that AWP, so they don't expect the boost over the top, and that allows him to get that first kill fairly easily. So now WASD can probably just sit back, but this time again, Vista, almost the same kill as in the previous round. He peeks Monster for a second frag. And Kinguin just losing these opening fights. I don't know why they continue to try and take these sort of one-by-one engagements. It's not really been working out for them. In the meantime, Kappa does at least get one kill towards A, and actually, A is looking very open here. Spur with the AWP is caught off guard, and all of a sudden we're back to a 3v3 with the A site in control of Kinguin.
Yeah, this is... I have no idea how this just happened. The Estonians very loosely watching that 8 bomb site, and in fact this allows an opening here for Kinguin. Capper getting that one frag, as well as Rallen timing in. Bitcher though, as he tries to move in towards A. The problem is the bomb hasn't planted on B. They've been, I'd say, bamboozled here. The WSD side, it's not looking good for them, but Dodds gets that one frag. But Capper now coming in from behind, from heaven nonetheless. This is gonna be a crucial crossfire from Capper and Rowland. Capper with one, not the second one though. Rowland 1 versus 1. Bitcher's got the kit, but at the same time, Rowland, when will he peek? He peeks, and in fact, Bitcher gets the frag, and I think he just... yeah, he just about gets it, and it's gonna be 15-16 WSD. It looked like they were pretty much out of contention in a round like that, but even though the Kinguin side, the Polish side, played that one relatively smart, Capper, I think he could have done more damage there in heaven. Surely gets the 2 frags, but at the same time, imagine if he gets the player in water. That's it. Kinguin win the round, and it's got to be a feels bad, man, for Kinguin. That was close in the end, but it's still the Estonians that come out in with the W.
Spiro's bought an AWP again here, by the way. The money could become an issue for him if they lose this round, and that might be the case because Spur has already opened things up with that AWP, finding the first kill, and he's going to continue to hold this aggressive angle. Again, he doesn't want to fall back. Finally, he decides to play things safe and watch towards A long, where he spots the player. They don't expect a second man, and this is just all going perfectly right now for WASD. Finally, Kinguin managed to get 1 kill back, but it's only 1 kill versus the 3 that have already come out from WASD. So let's see what Mouse and Spiro have in their locker. Doesn't look like too much because Dodds has already taken down the first. Very nice shot from Mouse there to open things up, but he doesn't have the bomb. 3 more to find. If there was a time to step up, it would be now in overtime, but this is a tough ask for any player.
Yeah, this is now looking like a very difficult position for Mouse to be in. There's 2 players towards connected, Gaborik and his teammate, that be Bitcher. There's really no sense for them to be peeking out one by one, though caught out with an 8 in hand is Gaborik, and well, Bitcher, at least he gets that frag in the end. That would have been quite a frustrating way to lose there in connector. Both players both dropped to 1T, and yeah, you said earlier, money can be an issue here on overtime, and if you end up losing 2 rounds in a row like we've just seen Kinguin, they're going to be able to scrape up a bye, as they have with those AK-47s, except for Sparrow. He's the opper. He had invested in the op previously, and now he's just going to be rocking that good old CZ of his. And Bitcher changing things up here, pushing here towards short end. The thing is, though, he's got the backup, and there we go. Spur towards B as well. A second frag for him. This is now looking not that bad here for the Estonians, but now things are again going in favor of Kinguin. 3 versus 3. Careful there, Vista. You don't want to be giving away too much there. Kinguin now turning things back. The fate is within Kinguin, and around they have to win. If this is going to be a 3-0 lead here for the WSD side, I don't know if we can expect much from Kinguin.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at the map, the smokes have come over towards B, but you can see Kinguin all making their way back around, so it looks like it won't be a push towards the B site. Kinguin still have a fair few nades left. In fact, they threw 1 smoke over, but I believe recovered one of the smokes from their teammates, so they have still 3 smokes, plenty of flashes, and a Molotov to use. And if they do indeed go for this A push, well, I was going to say it might be easier, but just as I say that, WASD themselves have a second player rotating up because Dodds has pushed all the way through B. And so it's Gaborik and Vizda both on the A site to look to lock this one down. And you would think they would be favoured in doing so, especially as they have the information. Here come the nades over the top. And let's see what WASD can do on the whole, because the smokes have done a good job, and Rallen does find that opening kill. Now I don't think Gaborik can really risk trying to push through to deny the bomb plant, although he hears it in the corner. That is not the default plant, and yet still Gaborik gets the kill. And now Rallen and Spiro both low on health, taking damage, and WASD now with an 18-15 half.
Why did he plant there? That make no sense once you went towards Optimus Prime, or you can simply plant towards toilets and have the players hold from toilets. Simple as that. Planting towards Optimus Prime makes barely little sense whatsoever, especially if there's a player close Optimus Prime like we just saw from the Estonians. That was a misplay from the Kinguin side, and I guess the entirety of overtime they made mistakes, some really crucial mistakes, but at the same time, credit to the Estonians. We finally get to see them play a bit more active on the CT side. They started having an active CT side, try and get the initial engagements. They had, like, if I may so call them, buddy systems, two players, holding similar angles. That was good from the Estonians. Kinguin, the T side didn't look good. Let's hope though, if the T side, the CT side now of the Kinguin might be looking a bit better here. But first of all, they need to get us to overtime, which means they need flawless 3 rounds in a row, which is possible, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be quite the difficult task ahead of the Polish side.
Spur getting boosted up, won't spot anyone out, but cool to see that WASD have it just to make sure that they aren't going to be exposed from that position. Of course, Kinguin themselves can risk going for the double AWPs, as we see Spur go for yet another boost, although this time he's not really going to be able to see over the top, he's just jumping. But yeah, double AWPs for Kinguin because, of course, their money isn't really a factor. As soon as they lose one of these 3 rounds, they would be down and out. So they can afford to go for these double AWPs without any real risk. In the meantime, WASD are creeping their way forward in towards bathrooms. Looks likely they will go for the push towards A, but there are 3 players here, and it's Spiro to open up with that AWP. Kappa's still playing up close as well, and with 30 seconds, WSD are going to have to go quickly, and they will be able to do so, possibly thanks to that kill.
Yeah, that was a very nice flick there from Spiro, and flicks are going to be enough. Spiro right behind the smoke. There's a player right in front of him. Bitcher now barely little time and barely anything to work with there, so the Estonian side crumbling there a bit. It didn't look too bad, even though Spiro gets the initial frag. We saw a relatively quick refrag there, toilets from the Estonian side, but they took their sweet time pushing on the A bombs, allowing for Kinguin to have a relatively successful retake as well. Spiro also doing a very good job at holding off towards the long for as long as possible, being a nuisance there for none other than the WSD side. And we're going to be seeing a bit of a boost here. Mihu, we've seen this from Spur beforehand on the CT side, and now they're going to be giving a taste of their own medicine. Peeks into the crosshairs of Mihu. That's an early frag and an early advantage for the Kinguin side of Poland.
Yeah, I don't know why Auto Director decided that we wanted to see Rallen, who was boosting Mihu up, but hey, I trust your word that Mihu landed a nice shot there and did get that opening kill. And so now, yet again, WASD have to play this time from a man disadvantage in a round where, if they won, they would take the win. You can see WASD are going to group up around the B bomb site here, despite losing their first player towards this position. So they know that Mihu is here with an AWP. I'm interested to see how they play around that, because there's still 3 players towards the B site. Here come a couple of nades through. Mihu flashing himself in. The Molotov will slow down WASD, and already Mihu gets a second kill with his AWP. The push is coming towards the site, and Mihu goes down, so it's up to Mouse. He only gets the 1 kill before the trade comes through, and all of a sudden, WASD have a very winnable position as they get a 2v2, they get the bomb down, and now it's all up to this 2-on-2 to potentially decide this game.
An important 2 versus 2 of that. This is pretty much the decider factor here on this best of 1 here on Overpass. If WSD win it, they win it for good. Kinguin, they're gonna have a fighting chance here. Bitcher pushing through, takes down one more. He's gonna have to ace, and the ace clutch it is as he takes down Lonesome Capper, and it's gonna be the Estonians. None other than the Estonians pulling through here in overpass as they get the victory against the Polish side of Kinguin. And well, that was interesting. They had quite the hard half on the T side, but they mounted a very successful comeback on the CT side. Props to them. Props to them to showing up here, pulling it to overtime. And Kinguin, there was some mistakes made, and to be honest, one of the I'd say the players that did make a decent amount of mistakes was Capper from the Polish side. He definitely overextended in some scenarios he should not have, and there were definitely positions where honestly, if Capper would have had at least a player backing him up, maybe Kinguin might be having a better chance. But there was something lacking in the Kinguin side, the terrorist side.
Yeah, it seemed like as the game went on there, it really felt like after that Spur 1-on-3, he really started to step up, and that seemed to be the catalyst to allow WASD to really get back into this game. And you saw in overtime, it almost always felt like WASD were going to be favored there. They get the job done. 19-16 is the scoreline at the end of the day, and that is the end of the day for the FCDB 27. Oh, it's so late in the day that I can't even talk properly. It's the FCDB 2017 qualifier. Again, guys, thank you for watching. My name has been Hawker, joined by Danny. Have you got any more closing words for the day, Danny?
Not necessarily. I mean, there was some nice matchups here. We were probably thinking Cobblestone versus C to be one of the more interesting matchups, but apparently, hey, I said this could be a close game, and apparently I was right. This was a relatively close game here against the Estonians and the Polish teams. So anyhow, some good games here. Exciting day of Counter-Strike. Exciting day for you as well with that fire alarm and all that jazz.
Yeah, that was fun. That was even the fire engine had to come to the house for some reason.
Oh,
And then the
okay.
firefighter dude came and he was like, "Oh yeah, this happened last week." Because, it just happens all the time, really. So, not the best, but hopefully it won't happen in the future. Again, thank you guys for watching. If you want to come back tomorrow, there are plenty more games, starting with Epsilon versus Resistance tomorrow at 5 p.m. CET. So make sure to stick around for that to see how all these groups play out. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.